This is the homepage that I created using the banner of a laptop because it's digital communications, and this is the basic tool used by many people when they access the internet. My thesis was based after a lot of reading that I did on this subject, and I decided to do it in favour of digital reproduction, which I found quite interesting, given that I have an interest in art and filmmaking and media. The first page that I created was an evaluation of Douglas Davis's work, the work of art in the age of digital reproduction. He based a lot of his work on work done by Walter Benjamin. At the beginning of the work, I was quite critical of his points of view, as he himself was critical of some of the work that Walter Benjamin wrote. But I found his work on the collaboration of the first sentence quite interesting, and I included a link to the first sentence in my piece of work. I sectioned his work into the sections that he wrote in himself to split up the page a bit, and added quotes that stuck out to me when I was reading it in bold, so that they would also stick out to the audience of my website. Whilst I was doing research for the page, I came across a TED Talks video about copyright and works of art in digital reproduction, which I thought would be quite interesting to include to the page. I myself found it quite interesting, as I hadn't really thought about copyright issues, which are obviously very important when you create a piece of art, because that is your own point of view and your own creation. The second page of the website that I created was based on an article written by Chris Anderson and Michael Wolff called "The Web is Dead, Long Live the Internet." And this talked about a more monetary side of the internet that people who aren't in that business don't often consider. It also talked about use of apps, and it really opened my eyes to the way that the World Wide Web isn't being used as much as it previously was, and the economy and how that influences use of websites or applications. I wrote this in a similar format to the first page, with standout quotes, and these are quotes again that I found stood out for me when I was reading the article. I also included a link to the original article and a poll, which I thought could help to either back up or discredit the article that they wrote, saying that the World Wide Web was being less and less used every day. I thought that this would be quite interesting, and as the people who will be reading the website clearly are interested in technology, I thought that that would be very telling of today's audiences. The next page that I wrote was about key concepts of digital communications. Two of the main forms of digital communications happen through social networking and messaging. As I didn't read a main article for this, I didn't use standout quotes, but I did use a lot of outside information, and I read up a lot on the subject. as is seen in my bibliography in the last page. I also included some statistics which I found myself quite interesting about the amount of social media used and how teenagers contact people today, which is a lot different to how it would have been obviously a few years ago due to the rise of instant messaging and social media. There are a lot of statistics throughout the article as well, which I myself found quite interesting. The final page that I wrote was about my thesis, and I used many outside sources and quotes to support my thesis. These are all, I basically tried to answer the questions when people try to discredit digital reproduction. I tried to combat these usual just faults that people find in it, and decided in the end that it was a point of view in how you see art, whether you see it as being this one glorious thing or whether you see it as a message, and surely that message should be spread across the world as much as possible. The final page is my bibliography, obviously listing all of the sources that I used throughout building my website.